Welcome to Druggy Nation. We're the bridge between everything pharmacy and pop culture. And now, let's check in with your connect and America's favorite pharmacist, Emmanuel Wogirin.
But, hanging out, talking, going back and forth first kind of sets the mood for the
whole show and stuff. That's good lightweight. Yeah. Okay, all right. We'll see.
Keep doing it. Good reinforcement. Behavioral principles over here.
Hey, I started recording already, right, Julie?
Oh, dang it.
I'm messing with you. No, actually, I did start recording.
Oh.
All right. Yeah, I did.
Get serious.
No, don't get serious. All right. Miggity mic check. Testing. 1, 2, 3. You already know what it is. Coming live from the DMV, particularly Baltimore, Maryland, a.k.a. Crime City. It's America's favorite pharmacist, legal drug dealer, Emmanuel Wogirin. And I'd like to welcome a very special guest to the podcast. Now, she used to work down at a strip club, over at Norma Jeans, down the street from the crib in the studio. She was known by the stage name Takashi 59, Treyway. Follow her on IG. So yeah, I was in the strip club, we started talking about life, in healthcare. You know how that goes in the strip club, right? And then she told me how she uses CBD for the muscle pain she be feeling sliding up and down in pose.
Right.
And, we kind of bonded over her pain, and now she's, my friend because she's cool peoples and stuff. Or she could work in the health industry and help people in a different way, an even better way than being a stripper. So we're going to use today's topic of discussion and talk about CBD, okay? Actually, Julia has personal, right? You have use of CBD, right?
Experience, yep.
Yeah,
I use it myself.
Personal use, okay. All right. So without further ado, let's welcome Julia to the #1 podcast in the world, Drug E Nation. Don't worry, Julia. Nobody listens to this podcast, okay?
Oh, okay.
I have no
Okay,
listeners,
good.
no subscribers, nothing, okay?
Okay.
All right? Don't worry about it. Nobody's going to hear this. So if you're a first-time listener, I want to say welcome to the conversation here at Drug E Nation. So as a pill-popping nation, this is the #1 platform to talk about the role drugs play in our everyday lives and society. This is the only pharmacy podcast worth listening to. I call it informative entertainment where you can learn and laugh. And here we have an open dialogue about our drug use, whether it's prescription, recreational, or illegal, and how it affects everyone in America, either it's individually or you have family and friends, so any and everybody is vulnerable to drug use, okay? And with that, welcome to AudioSode 9. All right, so today, right, if you watch the news or documentaries, whether it's Netflix or Amazon, you got Netflix, Amazon, Julie?
I got both.
Oh, you popping.
And Hulu.
Okay, you rich. Oh, you got Hulu too? Oh, damn.
Hulu too. Got them all.
Oh, you out here.
gotta have them options,
So if you have any one of those, if you're rich like Julie and have all three, okay, I'm sure you're going to find something on CBD, right? Because CBD at this point, most people have heard about it, right? And it become part of the discussion in American society and really kind of the world. So you can get CBD like put in your food in many places. I remember I was back in Boston early this summer and I was walking by a restaurant. We just went into the restaurant and on the menu, they had an option for CBD in your food. Yeah,
in
Boston.
Restaurant.
Yeah, it's CBD. They had the option of putting CBD in your food.
Oh, that's
so it was a cafe. So we put I put my CBD in like a coffee or whatever. And I thought they would like put a little dab in and just like say they put CBD in there.
Right.
Oh no, they put CBD in there. It was strong. Like
You felt it.
Oh, I
You
felt it. Like I tasted like it was like a nice latte or whatever. But like I tasted the CBD.
What did it taste
Like it was like bitterish, kind of tasted like green. Like it was like right. It was very it was CBD oil. So you're familiar with CBD oil, right?
Yeah,
so it's like
you can have different carrier oils. So like I've had it in coconut oil and I've also had it in hemp oil. And they taste very different. So depending on what you're putting it in.
Yeah, that's a good point you make because it is from different sources, like from marijuana and from hemp, right? The CBD oil. Talk about it later on though. Yeah. So it tasted good though. It was very strong. But, yeah, it was pretty strong.
You were all loose on the rest of the day.
So people that suffer from conditions like epilepsy and anxiety, among others, use CBD and say it's worked better than taking like a cocktail prescription drugs, right?
In my opinion, yeah.
Yeah. So marijuana in general is part of today's society and discussion. And it's not going anywhere, right? But on the medicinal side of the plan, I think we're just getting started and haven't really like realized how much of an effect CBD is going to have right now and in the future in healthcare. Like people using CBD right now instead of like an opiate medication for pain or whatever the case may be, just because it works better and it's less an effect on their body as far as taking a whole load of drugs, a cocktail of drugs. So I think it has the potential, right, to really have an impact, and it's really starting to, on how and what type of medications are prescribed for a bunch of medical conditions. And we're going to talk about that on this episode, and hopefully you have your own opinions on CBD after doing your own research. So without further ado, let's get into it. So by now, you probably heard someone mention CBD before, like right now, me mentioning it.
Right here, right now.
Especially if you live with a chronic condition like pain or anxiety, right? So let me go over CBD a little bit. So marijuana contains both THC and CBD, and these compounds have different effects. Most people have heard of THC part of marijuana, but CBD right now is where it's at, okay? And that's what's going to be the future of healthcare, in my opinion. It's like crazy. When I was researching on CBD or whatever and looking up like all the different like things they could treat, like it's a wild variety of things.
All sorts of disorders. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah.
They're doing a lot of things with it these days.
Yeah, people sometimes might get confused, like, what's medical marijuana and CBD? Like, those two things are actually different, right? So medical marijuana is just people using marijuana for like health reasons. I mean, they still get high because of the THC. Right? So CBD is different. Like, unlike THC, CBD is not psychoactive. A little gray area there, but it's not psychoactive. So that means that CBD doesn't change, right, your state of mind or make you think like high thoughts. Like this is a high thought somebody told me about. I don't know who it was. Somebody told me about, a friend of mine. It's a high thought. It's like, how do countries just float on water and not drift away? Like, how isn't there water like underneath? Make the countries float.
I mean, that's a really good thought.
Isn't that a really good thought, though?
I mean,
I think it was stupid.
They are floating. I mean, they're drifting.
They're drifting, yeah. But you know what the answer was? That it's like the like right now we're at the top of like the volcano, and like a volcano is just like higher part of like from the equator,
right,
to go all the way up, like, you know, past up past the sea. Like, that's a really good question though. Like, how are we not just floating around if we're on water?
Right.
But somebody asked that question. It was really good. I'm not gonna say who it was though. All right, but back to the program. So a new study reveals that nearly 7% of Americans use CBD, right? And that number is expected to reach 10% by 2025. So that's big business right there. You know, with big business, a lot of companies will start getting involved, like Big Pharma, right? But a lot of healthcare providers don't actually prescribe CBD because, I mean, they have no idea what it is, right? And there's a bunch of reasons why they have no idea what it is. Because first off, it's largely unregulated, for one. Suppliers, like, their claims on their packages for CBD are like inaccurate because there's no regulation for it again, right? And it can be misleading.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a big lack of medical studies, you know, to demonstrate its risks and benefits. That's in due part because the government kind of, you know, didn't allow people to, or universities or researchers to research CBD because it was Schedule 1, federally illegal. But talk about that later on. There's also most doctors, like, and pharmacists haven't had formal training in schools. I know a lot of pharmacy schools don't have this. They might be having it. It might be coming up in the pipeline because it's going to be part of like healthcare. But I know right now they don't have that as far as the curriculum is concerned, right? And like nobody knows exactly what's legal and what isn't. Like each state varies. Like federally, I think CBD, like derived from hemp, is legal in all 50 states, like federally. But each state can do whatever they want, make it legal or illegal. So I think, so a lot of states don't have it as a legal thing. So
yeah, I mean, I have friends ask me all the time, like, how do you get that? Like, who do you get it from? Where do you get it? All that type of stuff. I mean, and I know if I walked into a dispensary these days without a medical card, they're not going to even give me CBD, regardless if it has THC in it or not. Yeah. So, I mean, I personally order mine online, and I've never had a problem. I mean, I've had it shipped to me.
So you have the same person supply you order from all the time now? It's just good.
The same company, usually. I've ordered from another company prior to that. But I mean, never had any problems.
What happened with the other company you had before? What happened? The price went up.
I didn't necessarily like the oil, so that one was coconut based. Okay. Coconut oil based. And I didn't necessarily like that because I felt like I had to put it in my coffee or something. I didn't necessarily eat it. Gotcha. Just plain. Whereas the one I have now that's in hemp oil, I can just put it in my mouth and go on about my day. Yeah. So I don't need anything else to put it into.
Oh, okay. I got you. Okay. Yeah. So that's interesting. So you're familiar with using CBD. So like, tell me a little bit about, I guess, your routine or rituals. Like when you use CBD, do you use like only the oils or other forms? Like do you do it in the morning or like in the afternoon, or is it like an all day kind of thing? You know, certain times you do it, use it more often. Maybe like a stressful day. sip some wine, put a little CBD in the wine.
Oh, that's a weird combo.
When you find
you
put CBD in wine, that'd be interesting to actually taste that. I don't know how that would taste, to be honest.
That'd be
yeah. So basically what I'm asking, like, when you find yourself using it more, like for what purpose? Like pain, anxiety, both? Like,
so personally, my experience with CBD has transformed from when I first started using it to now.
Okay.
Initially, when I started using it, I had been weaning off of an antidepressant for my anxiety.
Okay.
And then I started incrementally using CBD every morning. And I had initially started with the coconut oil-based one, put it in my coffee every morning because I drink coffee every day. And just to kind of start my day like that. Almost like I was prescribing myself on a daily basis because I thought I needed it. And I, when I was coming off of the medication, it was because I was having some side effects from the medication. And my doctor said, you're probably not supposed to be on this long term. Let's start weaning you off. And I was like, well, I personally don't think that I'm like where I want to be in my anxiety journey here.
Gotcha.
And
now, how long have you been using a prescription antidepressant up until the point you started using CBD?
I used it for about 18 months.
Okay.
And then, just started, I was researching CBD. My mom had started using it actually.
Oh, okay.
For some pain.
Okay.
And then.
Which a lot of people use it for is for pain.
Yeah.
A lot of people use it for pain, CBD for pain.
Yeah. I mean, they have you can do the edible kind, you can do, edible, not as in like edibles, but you can ingest it or you can do topical for pain, for things like that. But so personally for me, it's all been the ingested kind. And then I wasn't seeming like I needed it every day. Because there'd be days, like I said, like if for some reason I didn't have time in the morning to make coffee, I didn't use the coconut oil one. I didn't just eat it by itself. So then those days that I didn't have it, I wasn't necessarily feeling like I missed out. So I personally didn't think that I needed it every day. So then I started doing like every other day. And then now I just use it as needed. Like I honestly took some before I came here.
Yeah.
Because I'm not necessarily the biggest on public speaking and things like that.
Gotcha.
I know that I'm
so
it's
it
like
helps.
a mental game over
Yeah.
With
everybody, life is always a mental game.
Absolutely.
Life is a mental game.
You're right. But so now it's kind of like if I'm going to big events, like I was in a wedding yesterday and I knew there's going to be a lot of people looking at me when I'm walking down the aisle.
Sure, of course.
My anxiety I knew would be a little bit heightened those days. And I feel like as I've furthered my my personal growth and reducing my anxiety in other ways, that I've been able to kind of just use the CBD as needed. And I definitely notice a difference when I use it though.
Oh, okay. So it's definitely a difference there. You can notice it.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow, that's great. That's great. Have you heard of this thing called Kratom?
No.
Oh, look into that. I did an episode, my first episode actually is on Kratom. Druggy Nation podcast, the best podcast ever. Listen to episode 1, guys, on Kratom. It's really interesting, like the similarities between Kratom, what people think about it, and CBD are very similar.
What is it?
So it's derived from a plant. A plant, I believe, I did it a while ago, but it plants from like the Southeast Asia, like the Philippines area, and Thailand is kind of place that's where it originates from. Okay. And basically, it's like they get it from plant, they put it in they crush it up in the leaf. You can actually use it in tea as well too, and it's supposed to help you with anxiety, stress, pain. A lot of people use it. I think it's a documentary on it, actually, if it's on Netflix or one of my friends.
And that's
one of my friends, okay. Amazon, one of those good friends I have. It's one of those, yeah, seriously. But it's called Kratom, Kratom. But you find a lot of similarities between Kratom and the advocates for that and the advocates for CBD. So I think you look into it. Yeah, I actually have some here. I tried some when I did the episode. Did whatever. And
you noticed the difference?
It was very, it made me very I talked about it in my episode. It made me very, what's that word? I think I was scared at first, using it, right? I was scared because I didn't know how it would affect me. So I think the first time I used it, it had me feeling excited and anxious or whatever. Because I think it was just because I was I didn't know what to expect. Right. The second time I used it, I was definitely a lot more focused. It was almost on Adderall. I was focused. I was doing things, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know if that's because I was in that kind of mindset at that time, or it was a placebo effect that took the Kratom and now I'm going to be focused. Because that's one of the things still helps you with. So I don't know. Like I said, there's no testing for any of this stuff right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we don't really know. There's no control group for this. So we don't know what it really affects. Yeah. So it could be a placebo effect, could be a mental thing, but I think it's more than a mental thing. I think it actually does work, obviously. But it's really interesting.
My experience is obviously subjective.
I've
read some studies. But I 2 out of the 3 studies that I read the other day were, they didn't have control groups. So it's how do you know if the CBD was actually working?
Exactly.
And then you have the parent report, as the measure, to evaluate.
The parent report?
So they ask parents, questions based off of the use of the CBD, like how, has your child XYZ because of CBD,
gotcha.
Whatever. And,
okay, gotcha.
If a parent is believing in it, you know, sure, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, it's working.
We won't talk about that. Yeah. We'll talk about that. Okay. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So let's go over briefly, like how CBD actually works. It's not a science podcast. I'm not going in details like that, but I'll give you a little overview. Okay. So how does CBD work? So all cannabinoids, including CBD, produce effects in the body by attaching to certain receptors, and our bodies produce cannabinoids on its own. Like we naturally produce cannabinoids, right? There's two receptors, CB1 and CB2. CB1, Chris Brown 1, receptors are all over your body, but many are in the brain, and these help with coordination. That's why you can dance so well. Coordination and movement, pain, emotions, mood, thinking, appetite, memories, and a bunch of other functions, okay? THC also attaches to these receptors, the CB1 receptors. Now, the CB2 receptors are more common in the immune system. They affect inflammation and pain. CBD doesn't actually attach to these receptors. Instead, it basically tells your body to use more of its own cannabinoids. Like I said, we naturally produce CBD. Okay, so that's how CBD works in a nutshell, a tiny nutshell. All right. So now people that support using CBD and not part of the CBD Hive gang, I'm a card carrying member, claim it has a wide variety of health treatments, right? For everyday illnesses to chronic medical conditions. So things like acne, shout out proactive, anxiety, chronic pain, depression, epilepsy, glaucoma, insomnia. It's just a lot of stuff. Loss of appetite and body weight, muscle spasms, Parkinson's disease.
The list goes on.
It treats a lot of stuff. People will say, people will also tell you that CBD oil can promote better sleep, reduce inflammation and pain, improve your heart health, support weight loss, and protect against some forms of cancer. Can't even go into cancer, guys. That's wow. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about some of these benefits, all right? And with all these I mentioned, more research needs to be done, okay? Because our government, as usual, is soft, and they can get with the program and make more research available to universities and stuff. But that's gonna change soon, though. All right. So first up on the benefits table for CBD is anxiety, right? Mm-hmm. So CBD can be used to treat anxiety disorders. Now, according to a report published in the Journal of Neurotherapeutics in 2015, they found evidence that CBD may help treat all types of anxieties and also OCD. That got me to think, what's your biggest OCD? Mine is I'm very clean. Everything needs to be clean around me and organized, or I can't focus. Literally, a little drop will spill over it, and I got to clean it right away.
Oh my God.
I'm not a type to leave dishes in the sink at all for 2 seconds. Literally after I have dinner, breakfast, whatever it is, lunch, right. I'm washing the dishes, cleaning that place up is done. Everything's clean. Okay. I'm OCD about cleanliness, being clean and stuff. That's my OCD.
For me, it's scheduling. So if I have an idea of what I'm going to do for the day and I don't get those things done, I'm really hard on myself about that. I'm very particular with if I set my plan to be I'm coming here to help with the podcast today, I'm going to go walk my dog, and I'm going to meal prep today. If I don't get to everything, or if something, is in a reverse order, I'm I can't do it.
If you don't do it in order, I got to get this done this time, this done, that. I know what you mean. I got you. It feels all kind of disarray. It's push your mind in a spiral. Okay.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Yeah. So, CBD can help with that, guys. And also PTSD, okay? I start with this first one, anxiety, because anxiety and depression are the biggest mental health disorders in the United States, okay? More Americans suffer from this disorder along with pain than anything else. So a bunch of Americans are out there in pain and anxiety, okay? So that's awful. Man. So more research needs to be done with this, like I said, right? That's rough, It is, you're right. Now, another thing CBD oil helps with is addiction. Right? They can help with addiction based on research from the Journal of Substance Abuse in also 2015. So scientists determined that CBD may have therapeutic effects in people with opiate, cocaine, and psychostimulant, which is Adderall, addiction. Yeah. It can help with that addiction.
I've never heard of that.
Which is, it's one of the things that they found in that in the study. It's a wider range. I think, it helps with smoking as well to addiction.
Really?
If you're just, Yeah, the treatment of tobacco addiction.
Chemical addictions over here. That's
it helps with that. I mean, that's what they're claiming. Mm-hmm. Like I said, more research needs to be done with all this stuff. To be honest, but it can help with addiction if you're struggling with that. I mentioned before too, fighting cancer, right? So some researchers have found that CBD may help fight cancer. So the British Journal of Clinical Pharmacology, I wish I had a British accent, found evidence that CBD significantly helped to prevent the spread of cancer. So the researchers said that CBD tends to suppress the growth of cancer cells and actually promote their destruction. And it has actually low levels of toxicity. So think about it. If you have somebody that has cancer, right, unfortunately, and they have an option of either using CBD oil or chemotherapy, which is going to leave you with no hair and it's like weakens your immune system and everything. What are you going to do?
They're actually they're comparing CBD as like a comparable treatment to chemo.
That's what they're doing. Yeah, wow. they're saying because they found that to help.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. It's one of the things. Like this is all like new research right now. Like none of this is like there's like years to go down the line before anything of this like finalized and approved for this, like FDA approved. But like right now, this is like in the beginning stages of all this stuff. Like they're finding CBD to help with all these different conditions, right? Acne. This one's that they actually have a lot of information on this one. Actually, the next one, the CBD helps treat with. So acne treatment is another promising use for CBD. The condition is caused in part by inflammation and overworked cells called sebaceous glands in the body. So a 2014 study published by the Journal of Clinical Investigation found that CBD helps to lower the production of sebum, which is that sebaceous gland in the body that leads to acne, okay? And partly because of its anti-inflammatory effect on the body. Sebum is an oily substance and overproduction can cause acne.
Okay.
Yeah, so CBD would become like a treatment for acne vulgaris, what it's called. It's the most common form of acne. So look out, Proactive. They're coming for you. Yeah. All the Proactive commercials, all them celebrities going to start doing CBD commercials.
I know. Targeting teenagers specifically, right? Those middle school schoolers like, look at you on CBD, man.
Yeah, word. Forget them Proactive commercials. They better make their money now. Another thing I found that was really good, CBD helps with Alzheimer's disease. Crazy. Really? Yeah. So initial research published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease found that CBD was able to prevent the development of social recognition deficiency in participants. So that part of it, right? So that means that CBD could help like people in the early stages of Alzheimer's to keep the ability to recognize the face of people they know and love, right?
Wow.
Your family members. Because a lot of families, that's the hardest part about it. Like you look at your grandfather and your grandmother and like they don't know who you are when you talk to them. It's like 1 second they don't know who you are, the next second they know who you are. Yeah. That could be, I don't know, I can imagine how that could feel. So they're saying like CBD can help with that, the early stages of like recognition of like people that you know.
Okay.
So yeah. So
that would be great for people who know like Alzheimer's is hereditary. So like if you know that you're predisposed to have it, if it's skipping generations or whatever, you can be proactive about it.
Exactly. You better go on 23andMe and find out.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is the first evidence that CBD may actually slow the progression of Alzheimer's disease, which is super dope. And then last but not least, type 1 diabetes. So type 1 diabetes comes from the inflammation that happens when the immune system attacks the cells in the pancreas. Research published in 2016 by Clinical Hemorrhagiology, that's a hard word to pronounce, and Microcirculation, that's a gangster journal right there, found that CBD may ease the inflammation in the pancreas, okay? Wow. Now, this may be the first step in finding a CBD-based treatment for type 1 diabetes. So you type 1 diabetics out there, this is good news for you guys. So like I said, it's just getting started as far as the research is concerned, but there's hope for that, Instead of using
more financially...
the price of insulin these days?
It's ridiculous.
What? People have to like, that's a whole nother like episode on that one. Yeah. How crazy that stuff is.
I'll listen to that one.
All right. So now some stories that I found in the news that was very interesting. So it was a website I saw on, actually it involves Maryland, Towson. So the AP, Associated Press, like they showed like there's a dark side to cannabis extracts and the CBD, right? Mm-hmm. So they purchased like these vape, the vapes now, the big news of vapes and stuff, whatever. And they found that lab testing found that it was contaminated. Most of the time, it wasn't actually CBD in there. It was like marijuana, THC, and just other like different drugs actually in that.
Terrifying.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, be careful. Like I said, like do your research on like when you get the CBD from, for one thing. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't even trust vaping in general because vaping is just like a whole mess right now. Be careful because it could be like Russian roulette out there with this vapes and like CBD and stuff. Gosh. So like really know like your market and where you're getting it from because they found a lot of it has been spiked. So that was something I found interesting. I wanted to mention in case people were not aware of that. And it happens in Maryland.
Go online and just start
Don't start buying. Don't stop buying. Yeah, exactly. Don't stop buying these vaporizers and these vape pens and end up with the wrong thing. So be careful on that. I have to mention that. Make sure my viewers know that. All right, now for the meat and potatoes of this episode, I want to talk about something because you're, that's it near and dear to your heart because you work with people that, go through this particular condition. Mm-hmm. All right. So now, something I want to talk about more is autism because, that's the patients you see on a regular basis. Now, I found a little research on CBD and autism, but you can go ahead and speak on that after I give you a little breakdown on this. So medical marijuana extracts appear to help children with autism, reducing their disruptive behavior while improving their social responsiveness. Mm-hmm. That's from, it was like an Israeli clinical trial that I found. Now, kids treated with CBD experience a significant improvement in their symptoms compared with a control group given a placebo. Mm-hmm. All right. So neither CBD nor any other drug can remove or cure like the core symptoms of autism, which include like social communication challenges, sensory dysfunction. What is sensory dysfunction? You know what that means?
It just depends. Sometimes there are kids who are oversensitive to loud noises, things like that. And then there are sensory seeking kids who like more pressure, tight squeezes. They like, to be rolled up in a towel on the floor, called a burrito, and it takes more effort for them to get out. It's almost like their body's trying to regulate and they can't get enough energy out or they can't figure out how to do it. So they require some sort of physical sensory input.
Oh, gotcha. Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting. So so they were saying CBD could like help with that. And also like restricted repetitive behaviors. Mm-hmm. CBD can help with disorders that are often associated with autism, like epilepsy, anxiety, sleeplessness, and stress. So let's say, for example, like it may cause better sleep and lower anxiety, which can reduce aggressive behavior, fewer seizures, which can lessen stress and make it easier to interact socially, and lower anxiety to make it easier to learn and use social communication skills.
Right.
Okay. And then you look at the effect that it can have on a family, right? Especially with the parents, because now they have to deal with their kids' sleeplessness and aggression, and that can become exhausting and overwhelming. Like they have to work to make, it's just added stress to your life. Obviously, raising a kid with autism, right? So that can become exhausting and overwhelming. Yeah. Aggression in particular is one of the most challenging behaviors common with autism, right? Yeah, is that an accurate assessment? Like you deal directly with autistic kids?
Since autism is a spectrum, you have kids who are significantly aggressive. I mean, to the point where they have multiple staff with them at all times to be able to keep themselves and others safe. And then you have some kids who are not aggressive at all.
But some people are just naturally aggressive. Like it's not because they're autistic, they're aggressive.
No. No, so the autism part of it here is that, they have a difficult time communicating. Okay. So, I mean, for example, I have a client that I work with who, when he wants something, he doesn't vocalize what he wants. Yeah. So he's, technically nonverbal. Okay. But he uses other forms of communication, like he'll use picture cards. But sometimes if he can't communicate what he wants, he'll hit you. Okay. And, he'll hit you because he wants you to stop doing something. He'll hit you because he wants something. Okay. So he just doesn't have the resources available to him to be able to communicate sometimes. So that's kind of where our job comes in. We reduce these behaviors by giving them the appropriate communication skill for that.
Oh, interesting.
So that's where the aggressive part comes from sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes it's sensory. Like I was saying, some kids or not just kids, individuals with autism, need more sensory input. So sometimes they might inflict themselves. So it's called
because they're understimulated. So then they'd be more stimulated. Gotcha.
I know specifically for autism, like if you're more sensory seeking, you may be more likely to engage in self-injurious behaviors and bang your head against the wall because maybe your head hurts and you're just trying to get rid of it. And you bang your head. It's kinda,
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so it could be a pain relief. It could be to get energy out. It could be, some sort of just sensory input in general. Yeah. But I think that's where a lot of the aggression comes from. And our job as behavior analysts is to determine the function of these behaviors and give them a replacement behavior to serve that same function.
Gotcha. Because the reason I brought up aggression, because that's like oftentimes the like biggest reason why a parent could put a child in like an institution. Like said, like in the right? Yep. Is that common thing that you guys see? I guess in the work.
I personally don't know of any parent who's had to put their child in an institution, but they do put them in places like if they're out of the school system, they've aged out, whether they're 18 or up to 21. Yeah, they can as adults. I mean, whether the parents they still live at home with their parents or they go into a group home. So that's one reason why they'll basically pass them on to a group home because, it's time for them to be an independent adult or sometimes just because they're unmanageable at home. And then that's the place where the staff are trained enough to be able to take care of them. Or like a day program for adults.
Yeah.
It gives them something to do during the day so they're not at home all the time because they might be unmanageable or just are bored.
Yeah.
We have a lot of kids who sometimes need to go to a non-public school because the public school cannot help them with their particular needs. Maybe it's out of their scope.
Sure.
Or, realm of possibilities there.
Yeah.
So some schools, like a non-public school, which I worked at for about a year, there's a lot of people who are more trained in how to change these behaviors and how to, reduce them and how to protect the child and everybody else around them. So, I mean, the aggression part is a big stressor for families. I've seen parents break down in front of me, saying, I can't change this. I don't know what to do. He's going to hurt himself or, kill himself or somebody else.
Do you see parents like blaming themselves? Like, how did this happen? Like, is it like, it's my fault now to have this kid like this? Like,
not necessarily because like they don't necessarily blame themselves for the genetic component.
Yeah.
Like they're not like I did this to my child.
I would think it would come up a little bit if I was in that position. I would like kind of blame myself like, damn, like my genes, they just like made this kid like this. It's not really his fault or her fault. Right. It's like my fault because like, damn, like I put him in this world like this and like they have to deal with it. I have to deal with it too. It's just a stress on both sides. It's like unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, we do see parents who feel guilty for not starting intervention services early enough.
Sure.
In that prime developmental age or age range. We see that.
Okay.
We see, I'm not doing enough as a parent to help my child or, I wish I could do more, that type of thing.
Gotcha.
So we don't necessarily see like the biological background of like, I can't do this or I did this to my child.
Sure.
Because they're not like actively... That's more of like a passive thing. They're not actually changing.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do, the guilt does come from like if they're not implementing interventions when it's necessary to be doing that.
Sure.
The follow through is really hard for parents sometimes.
Sure. Do you see like, so I know you deal with, autistic kids directly and with the parents and the family members, everything like that. Mm-hmm. Do you see like CBD like becoming part of the treatment for autism? Or not even treatment for autism, I mean like to help with autistic symptoms. Children. Yeah, the symptoms, sure. Exactly, right?
Absolutely.
Like, because what is it right now? Just medications sometimes, right? Do you have medications they use?
Some of them, I mean, some of them are on antipsychotic medications for the repetitive behaviors and obsessions, things like that. Also for aggressive behaviors. Some of them are on anti-anxiety medication.
Yeah.
Because anxiety is like highly comorbid with autism.
Oh, really?
So somewhere between like 40 and 60% of kids with autism have anxiety.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting facts.
So, I mean, I think that CBD could be great for that, especially knowing that like currently 3 out of 4 of my clients have severe sleep issues. I mean, they're waking up in the middle of the night, they're sleeping on the floor, they're not going to bed till 4:00 in the morning, and it sets up a whole different level of stress for the parents, especially because, the parents want to be awake while the child is awake, just to make sure that they're being safe.
Sure.
And if your parent is staying up till 4 a.m. with the child, they're going to bed. And if they have a job to get to in the morning, they're not getting any sleep.
Yeah.
So it's another added level of stress for parents. And I think that if, once things are more regulated with CBD and
more research, yeah, exactly. Then you can definitely see a role.
See that for sure.
Of CBD autism. Yeah. That'd be great to look forward to in the future. I hope it does come to that. That'd be really, really interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be really great.
Yeah, I mean, I had a mom tell me, like, I would do anything for my kid, whatever it takes.
Of course.
So...
Yeah, not only just with autism, like, even when you hear stories, like, you see documentaries on, like, Netflix or whatever the case may be, where parents are, like, flying their child out to, like, Colorado, whatever the case may be, to get, the medical... cannabis, whatever the case may be, to treat the epilepsy or seizures that some kids have.
Oh, yeah,
so of course they'll do whatever. Yeah, absolutely.
Moving states to get the
which is very unfortunate because they shouldn't have to do that to get a treatment for their kids, because that's just the world we live in right now. But people will do what they need to do for their kids. Trust that.
Absolutely.
Trust that. Mm-hmm. That was good. All right, let's do over some interesting facts about CBD that I found, which is kind of interesting to me. One, royal families have used CBD. And if my voice sounds kind of stuffy, I'm a little under the weather, guys, so sorry about that. But, still listen to the podcast. I'm still the man. Royal families have used CBD. So the most notable example is Queen Victoria, who ruled England from 1837 to 1901. She used cannabis high in CBD to help with menstrual cramps.
Really?
Yeah, she used CBD. Back in them days, Queen Victoria was out here in the streets.
We all should be using it now.
Original CBD gang member.
Yeah.
I see you out here. CBD in all forms is illegal in Canada without a prescription, guys.
Wow.
Yeah, very interesting, right?
Yeah.
Despite the inevitable countrywide legalization of marijuana planned by the Trudeau government, Trudeau, you're messing up too recently too. No, Mr. Blackface Trudeau over there. In the next 2 or 3 years, so CBD oil of any sort is a Schedule II drug. This means that you can't obtain it without a prescription, and so far, it's unavailable as a hemp extract. Okay, so those with prescriptions can get CBD oil from licensed medical marijuana companies as medicine created from marijuana, not hemp. All right. Another fact I found interesting was CBD might help improve brain function. Okay, so a study on pigs, so not humans, pigs. Okay, relax. But published in the United States National Library of Medicine found that quote unquote administration of CBD reduced short-term brain damage. So that means if you get, drink a lot, whatever, and then get a little brain damage, get a little CBD, put a little CBD in your beer, guys.
Some friends might use that.
Okay. Some friends might need that one. Another fact I found was interesting was that CBD has been shown to reduce stress, which, I think we know that, aka the silent killer, stress. So CBD appears to be a promising alternative to prescription medications that are used to handle stress-related health problems, okay? Research at Buffalo University says that CBD and other cannabinoids can, quote, restore normal endocannabinoid function to potentially help stabilize moods and ease depression. That's all related to stress, all that kind of stuff, all related.
Oh, absolutely.
Cortisol
levels and everything.
Yeah, exactly. For all my alcoholics out there, gang, CBD may reverse brain damage from alcohol. That go back to the brain function again. Right, so it may help reverse brain damage from alcohol. A study by University of Kentucky found that administering CBD gel through the skin resulted in a 48% reduction in neurodegeneration, which basically means that your brain ain't gonna be degenerating and shit. Okay, so for all alcoholics, CBD may help reverse brain damage from alcohol. So look out for that.
Alcoholics out there
in Kentucky, probably.
Yeah,
they're watching the basketball game. That's what it is. Just drinking and shit in there. That's all it is. Yeah.
Too much.
CBD actually is psychoactive. All right. So while it is correct to say that CBD won't cause a high, quote unquote, right, it is incorrect to describe it as non-psychoactive.
Really?
Okay? Yeah. So
I've read that CBD is not psychoactive.
Yeah. So like the term non-psychoactive means that a substance does not affect the mind, which isn't an accurate description of CBD.
Right, yeah, true.
Yeah, so CBD's interaction with the endocannabinoid system in your body, right, does alter the release of neurotransmitters in the brain and elsewhere. And in doing so, CBD encourages the balance in the body and its functions. So therefore, rather than CBD being labeled as non-psychoactive, it's a more accurate description of it would be that CBD is non-intoxicating because it doesn't elicit any euphoric effects. But it's definitely not non-psychoactive. It does have, have effects. Yeah, exactly. So,
okay.
Yeah, good to know. I didn't know that either before I started doing research on this.
I'm going to stop saying that because I think I've told people that before. You're like, CBD, it doesn't make you high. And I'm like, yeah, it's not psychoactive. But THC is.
See, everyone knows THC is to get you the high part. It just doesn't get you high. Doesn't mean it's not psychoactive, guys, okay? That's what I mentioned in there. Yeah, good to know, yeah. So CBD is beneficial even if you're healthy, all right? So many people first incorporate CBD into their lives once facing health problems, right? Pain, anxiety, things like that. But CBD offers botanical properties that are beneficial for anyone interested in promoting wellness. CBD oil is also a natural source of many vitamins and minerals, including B-complex vitamins, vitamin C, vitamin E, calcium, and magnesium, all right? CBD oil also contains proteins, fatty acids, and other dietary nutrients critical for keeping your body running at its best. I need some of that right now because you know me, I'm like my body's running not at its best right now. This little under the weather thing.
Pop that CBD real quick.
I need to see some CBD right now for real.
That's in my purse.
If you're offering, CBD can also be beneficial for your pets. I know you have a pet, Julia. Yeah. Your rowdy ass pet over there.
No, he's not little.
It's a big boy.
Yeah, chocolate lab.
So all mammals, including dogs, cats, horses, and more, have an endocannabinoid system, right? So the bodily system with which cannabinoids interact. So CBD's support of the endocannabinoid system has shown to promote pets' cardiovascular function, support healthy joints, and promote a neurological health and emotional behavior.
See, my dog's a little bit anxious.
Yeah, all these.
So he just moved into the city. He's afraid of everything with wheels. Scooters, strollers. People are running all the time along the water, and he's like, "Are they running at me? I don't really know." And he starts army crawling. So I'm wondering if maybe CBD would be good.
But I think he gets nervous when he's not used to the environment. But once he goes around the same place again, like if you're walking a dog, goes around the same place again, then he's not. When I took him for a walk, whatever. When we were taking the dog for a walk and we went around a place for one time and we went around there again the next day or whatever.
Oh,
it wasn't that crazy. It wasn't that wild and rowdy. Whatever. It was less noticeable, put it that way.
Okay.
Than when
every day he's interacting with some sort of something with wheels, and he's still afraid of wheels.
So I mean, CBD can be beneficial. I mean, they need more studies on this and the vet and all that kind of stuff. But like, that's good to know, right? Another fact that I found: CBD is federally legal, provided it comes from hemp. All right. So CBD, provided it's derived from hemp, is federally legal in the United States. A Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruling found that allows hemp CBD and hemp CBD oil manufacturers to operate for years without interference. So the passing of the 2018 Farm Bill in late December eliminated any confusion of hemp's CBD's legal status. All right. So the hemp provisions in the new Farm Bill allows hemp to be legally, quote unquote, cultivated for any use, including the production and extraction of CBD. It also means that you can legally use and buy CBD oil without a doctor's recommendation or prescription, unlike Canada.
So why hemp and not marijuana?
derived from hemp. They don't supposed to say why. I don't understand why the big difference.
Like
it is the same.
Marijuana is like a buzzword, and they're like, no.
Yeah, I mean, CBD. I mean, maybe some CBD oil that comes from marijuana has some traces of THC in it, but the ones from hemp don't have any traces of THC. I don't know that could be the reason for it, but it still doesn't make.
Even though it's not regulated very well, like depending on what website you're buying it from or wherever, you can read the plant information basically, because obviously, my CBD can be different from somebody else who has CBD from the same company, because not the same plant is not producing the same.
That's what I'm saying.
So you have to be able to read those reports. Like in mine, I think it's less than 0.05% THC, because that's I think it's like the cutoff or the standard.
The legal amount.
I could be wrong about that.
Okay, yeah, sure.
It's the legal amount of THC is either 0.5 or 0.05 or less.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah,
that's interesting. I don't know why it's legal from hemp and not from marijuana, but that's something to look into, definitely. Yeah. All right, let's talk about more of the legality of this, okay, since we just ended on that one. First of all, I want to ask you, what do you think about the future of CBD in this country in general, right? Would you be open to CBD being tried on kids with autism? What's your opinion on that?
So personally, I'm
for testing,
curious.
For research.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, so I do. I mean, there are some places. I know I read a study from Israel, and I'm pretty sure that might be the same study you were talking about. Right?
Yeah.
Where they were doing it on children, and obviously, with something like that, consent from parents is always warranted.
Yeah.
So it's like some sort of ethical violation. If you don't request parents' permission first, because they can't necessarily advocate for themselves all the time if they're nonverbal.
Yeah, that's true. That's what I'm saying. Because kids are like, you're not really asking the kid, you're asking the parents.
Right.
So it's not,
For sure. I mean, I definitely think that it has a place in the world. For my field specifically, I really hope it does.
Because it benefits to it.
It
has potential to be beneficial, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's something to think about, guys. Something to think about. So the FDA also recently approved Epidiolex. Yeah, that's a drug made with a purified form of CBD oil.
I saw that.
In June 2018. Yeah, for the treatment of seizures.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. The FDA recently approved it.
Yeah.
Just last year, guys. For epilepsy in patients 2 years of age and older. Okay? Now, Epidiolex is the first FDA-approved drug that contains a purified drug substance derived from marijuana. So not hemp, marijuana.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep. So retail pharmacies like, Walgreens, CVS, they all decided to sell CBD products in their stores. And then in March of this year, in 2019, CVS started selling CBD products like creams, sprays, roll-ons, lotions in 8 states.
Really?
Yeah, in 8 states,
But if it's not regulated, then how do you know?
Yeah. Well, what do you mean regulated?
Like if it's not, CBD is not regulated technically, right? So
yeah, it's not regulated.
But stores like that are selling that?
They're selling it because it's like you get it like online right now. Like I'm sure CVS has done their research. Yeah, it's kind of how you get it online right now with CBD. So it's like it's out there. It's like and a lot of states that have legalized it. Mm-hmm. So the states that CVS is selling it, just the states that have legalized, CBD.
I mean,
right?
the drug is one thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming that's been regulated. There's, you know,
yeah, sure.
And lots of studies that have supported it. I guess selling it in stores. I mean, I wonder if it's derived from hemp or marijuana at that point.
Yeah,
you know?
But I mean, at the end of the day, CVS is doing it not because they care about you, because of the money. All right. So like, projections for CBD sales is 1.9 billion by 2020.
Oh my god!
Like,
wow.
They're not doing it because they care about your well-being, guys.
Yeah,
they're trying to make that money. CVS, the health and putting you first. Stop selling tobacco and stuff. They're making way for stop selling tobacco, making way for that CBD. That's what they're making way for.
Exactly. Yeah, they're like, this is where the money's coming from, for sure.
So there you go with that. It's interesting news. So you're gonna see more in our retail pharmacies, guys. So be on the lookout for that. So now CBD derived from any cannabis source was previously a Schedule I controlled substance. Therefore, the current research of CBD was limited due to the Controlled Substance Act, CSA, making it illegal to cultivate, possess, sell, or distribute CBD. But like I said before, the 2018 Farm Bill removed hemp from the CSA, which is a Controlled Substance Act, that paved the way for the legalization, cultivation, possession, all that good stuff of CBD, right?
So hopefully we're gonna have a lot more research
so that's why CVS is able to do that right now as far as selling that, because now, you know, CBD derived from hemp, they're able to actually use that and do research on that. So that's what they're able to actually sell these products now in their stores. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so that's the reason why for that.
Okay.
Yeah. So because I mean, like, it's CBD. People want to know more about CBD, right? So because I saw the study, like a study from March 2019 found that 40% of adults are interested in trying CBD. 40%. That's almost half the country. Yeah, because they want easier access, right? More information and a doctor's recommendation before taking it. So they're interested, they're curious about it, but there's not enough information about it to be like safe and like, oh yeah, I want to put this in my body. You know, people are going to be skeptical about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Yeah, absolutely, definitely.
I wonder, like, out of that 40%, who already uses things like marijuana?
True. Yeah, are those like marijuana users, or those like people that not use marijuana for? That's a very good question, actually.
I mean, like, I personally don't prefer to use marijuana products. Yeah. But, like, I mean, I love CBD. Yeah. And I was more open to that because of the quote-unquote non-psychoactive properties of it. You know?
Quote-unquote non-psychoactive.
I wasn't going to be high, so I thought, okay, doing it before going to work and things like that, you know?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, nobody knows anything about it. Like I said before, right? Like, 90% of doctors are unprepared to prescribe medical marijuana and CBD and all that kind of stuff because they don't have the curriculum right now training for it right now. So nobody knows anything about anything. Okay. But CBD is going to be big business, right? So it's like, it's coming, guys. It's coming. Put it that way. Okay. So CBD is here and it's going to be here to stay. I believe so. Because in another survey I found, whatever, like 42% of CBD users stopped using other medications like Tylenol and Vicodin. And 80% found that CBD products can be very or extremely effective. So a lot of people is trying to stray away from using actual pharmaceutical products and prescriptions and actually go into like this kind of things like CBD. And I mentioned before kratom, like look into the kratom because that's like interesting too. Okay. And people are veering away from that kind of stuff. These cocktails of prescription drugs and veering to more natural ways to treat their different ailments. So CBD and those kind of natural ways is coming, guys. It's here to stay. Use a
natural way to
CBD is marijuana is a freaking plant. Like, why it was legal in the first place? That's a whole nother story, anyways. Yeah. What I was, but that's interesting. That's some good facts about CBD, right?
Yeah,
sure. Yeah. Good facts about CBD today.
Definitely an advocate.
Yeah, CBD gang. We're both card-carrying members. You know that. All right. So thanks for listening, guys. I hope you were entertained and learned a few things. Remember, like and follow my Facebook page, Druggy Nation, DRUG-E Nation. The link is in my IG bio as well. Just search my name and subscribe, guys. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, Stitcher. It's everywhere. And leave a comment, okay? You put on an episode where you're driving to work or to school or you're at the gym lifting some weights, or listen to my Party Drugs episode. Let your friends know about it. And also let me know what you want to hear my guests and I talk about, right? Just send me a message or leave me a comment on my Facebook page and put the hashtag Drug Topics. I'll definitely look at that and we'll make it happen, okay? Again, thanks for listening, guys. It's only going to get better. If you haven't already, remember to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, everywhere you listen to podcasts. And now it's also on iHeartRadio, okay? So check it out on iHeartRadio as well. All right? Now for today's quote, I always end on a quote. I usually do funny ones, but today I'm going to do an inspirational quote from the great philosopher Jay-Z. And it goes, I will not lose. All right. So we become what we think about. That's from Earl Nightingale. We become what we think about. Okay. Oh, another good quote I found was from Will Smith. He said, if we get on a treadmill, either two things are going to happen. Either you're getting out first or I'm going to die trying. Period. That got to be a mentality in this world, okay? All right, it's still RIP to Nipsey the Great. The marathon continues. Remember, subscribe on all those platforms I mentioned earlier so you can get automatic notifications when new audio shows drop. Also, a reminder, check out my Small Doses series. It's about 10 to 15 minutes. I'll probably put a new one in next time I do an episode. I'll put a new one in. I haven't done that in a couple episodes. I'll put a new one in soon. So don't forget to check those out, okay, guys? On that note, I'm out. Deuces.
See ya.